Ash Parrish.
Hi, everybody.
Where's Sailor Moon?
Oh, she broke.
She broke.
She's broken. Yeah. I've been putting all the stuff that you can see in the back on my wall, and I guess sometime during the move and the paint and the put everything back process, one of her wires like broke. And so, if you know anybody that can repair them or businesses that can repair them, let me know, because she's broken, unfortunately.
Listeners, kick in your money to patreon.com/insert credit. This is vital show equipment.
Apparently.
Humans are lame, monkeys are good, Billy is the best. This is episode 397 of the Insert Credit Show, a video game podcast with too many episodes and just enough horrible buzzing. I'm Alex Jaffe. Starbucks order, request for the bathroom code.
Nice.
Oh, I'm Frank Cifaldi. Starbucks order. Black coffee, whatever you call medium. I refuse to use your arbitrary naming scheme.
Wow, so brave.
Yeah. One time they pretended they were confused. Like, I think we were like trying to out pithy each other.
That's gross.
Yeah, it was really gross.
I'm Ash Parrish, and my Starbucks order, I don't go to Starbucks. Like, I don't. That's not, we don't do that.
None of us do. None of us do, right? Let's establish that here, right?
I do at the airport sometimes. So I just realized that.
I guess in the rare opportunities that I do go to Starbucks, which I guess if I'm in a new city and I need a cup of coffee and I don't know where to go, it'd probably be a double chocolate chip frappuccino or a dirty chai latte.
There you go. I'm Brandon Sheffield. Starbucks order. This is very silly because I actually just had this realization. I was at a Michelin star restaurant in Paris. We didn't know it was Michelin star restaurant until after.
Until the Michelin mascot came in, the
he
like
burst
tire
through the
mummy.
wall and was like,
"Oh yeah!"
Anyway, the final bit was a spiced Madeleine, and it was very fancy. And I was like, this flavor reminds me of something. And my partner was like, well, what is it? And I thought for a while, and then I was like, oh God, it's this Starbucks pumpkin bread. This Michelin star dessert reminds me of Starbucks pumpkin bread, which is my order when I'm at the airport. I get a pumpkin bread and I get a steamed milk. I'm a baby. I'm a literal infant.
Do you not drink caffeine, Brandon?
No, I cannot drink caffeine.
Oh,
You're that food critic from Pixar's Ratatouille, except instead of going back to your French childhood, you're in an airport.
I'm in the friggin' airport.
All right, do we have some time for some Frank coffee takes?
I would love to hear some Frank coffee takes.
Coffee talk.
I think Starbucks kind of ruined coffee in a lot of ways. And I'm not necessarily talking about their business practices, just the quality of product.
Mm-hmm.
I think Starbucks convinced people that the taste of burnt, crappy beans is upscale coffee.
Which is probably Pete's fault. Pete's Coffee did that first.
I agree. Pete's did it first. Yes, absolutely.
And Starbucks was branched off kind of Pete's. And so I think it's Pete's fault.
So I think the sort of ironic thing that a lot of people don't understand is that the more coffee beans are roasted, the higher roast level, you're actually burning off the caffeine.
Nice.
So a darker roasted coffee is weaker than a light roasted coffee in terms of the caffeine that goes into your body.
It's more bitter though.
It is more bitter and tastes like crap.
So it's strong in one way.
But, I think Starbucks, and I agree with you, Brandon, Pete's, which they ripped off, has created this conception that burnt, dark, quote-unquote, dark roast is stronger and maybe fancier than a normal roast of coffee. And they did that because you can make any bean taste like an ashtray. You could just make it all taste the same if you just burn it all. So, well, first of all, just don't go to Starbucks at all. But second of all, stop drinking dark coffee and pressure Costco, which I shop at a lot, to carry literally anything other than dark coffee.
I didn't know you were a coffee person, Frank.
I love coffee.
Oh man, he's a coffee guy.
Well,
Yeah.
I
Learning
think
so
that
much.
I think that takes me to my first question this week.
Okay.
What is the Starbucks of video games?
Okay.
Microsoft, in that they're really shitty,
Oh,
and
boy.
we don't fucking shop there anymore.
We're getting right into it, aren't we?
I feel like it's got to be something that's like proliferating everywhere and taking over the mom and pops, or it could be the crappiness or the basicness. Which one is it?
I can't justify this, but my head immediately just said the Nintendo eShop. I don't know where to take that.
Maybe it's like the loungy music or something that plays that got you in there.
It
Could
could
it
be.
be?
It could be the oversimplification of it. I don't know. Like it does feel like it's trying to train people to be a particular type of player, maybe. But I think in general, I'm just bitter over the Switch's existence because it just makes everyone make weaker games or forced by whip to port their ambitious games to that potato. So to me, that's like porting to the Switch is the dark roast coffee of game dev.
Ah,
Oh,
yeah, I am
shit.
seeing this. I'm seeing these dots connect.
Interesting. I guess another way we could go for it is like Embracer Group, kind of buying everything up and under one umbrella. It's not quite there, but there's something to that.
Yes, Starbucks doesn't like
They don't
acquire
buy
a bunch of
yeah.
stuff
No, they
and,
don't.
and then like parse it out.
They just go next door and shut them down.
Yeah.
Or at least they used to. Now there's nothing to shut down. I actually think that independent coffee shops, at least around here, are doing better than a lot of the Starbucks. People prefer it.
I would agree. I've got a nice little coffee shop at the end of my street that I like to go to every now and again called not Naughty Dog, Thirsty Dog. No, it's not Thirsty Dog either because that's a beer. Oh, I'm going
It's
to
an
forget.
adjective and a dog. It's
Yeah.
a sleepy dog.
Nervous Dog. There it is.
There we
that
go.
makes sense.
That's very
Yeah.
close to Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
They're cool. I like them.
Just FYI, I agree with like smaller places here, but also in general, it is something that I do when I travel and I have downtime. I look for a local coffee roaster. The thing that I get as a souvenir when traveling is local coffee, and I've noticed more of it in recent years. I think it's actually like there's kind of a resurgence maybe of coffee or a surgence. I don't know. Like
Yeah, coffee hasn't really gone anywhere.
right, but I think what's coming up is more kind of bougie, like Blue Bottle inspired coffee roasters than like the old mom and pop shops just importing.
I think we could also make an argument for someone like Activision being the Starbucks where you got like just a general smoothing out of things where you don't have a lot of ambition or trying to do something really interesting or weird, and it's just like shaving the edges off.
Well, also it's bitter. It's like shave the edges off, and also it's bitter at the core. So, yeah.
I think when I think about Starbucks, it's in the sort of store philosophy of presenting as a very welcome community centric place, but actually being a place that wants you out of there as quickly as possible.
Which one is that? Is that Pocket?
It's both of them right now. Pocket's far away, and Saber's in the room with me. Saber's making that little barp that you're
Barp.
probably hearing.
That's
Aw.
accurate.
I think the mail carrier has arrived.
Oh, the old cartoon stereotype.
Yeah.
This has reduced my ability to think at all. So,
Sorry,
unfortunately,
I need to call it out. It's
That's-
just very cute.
Yeah.
that's what's going on. It's
I stand
dog
by my
time.
original answer.
Yeah. What's something that presents as very inviting, but is actually kind of coldly hostile?
Me.
Video games.
Yeah.
No, I'm the opposite of that actually. Fortnite, the Souls games.
Oh, no, Destiny. Destiny 2.
Hmm.
Like,
Oh,
everybody
Destiny?
looks like they're having so much fun playing Destiny. And I am, like, super into, like, the Bungie style of story. Well, it's not no, it is. Bungie style of storytelling where it's, like, proper nouns all over the place that don't make any sense together and all that kind of shit. Like, I don't know, the sword logic or some bullshit. That kind of shit. Love that shit. Eat it up. Can't get into Destiny 2 for the life of me after like several tries. That and Monster Hunter. Everybody looks like they're having a great time. I boot it up. No, I can't do this. No, it's too much.
Yeah, actually, I think most MMOs, the ones that have really survived, don't really have that. But I feel like most MMOs have like, here's a cool idea. We're gonna have all of you are gonna come play it, and then you get in there and you're like, oh, this is nothing. This is just work. I guess that's the working at Starbucks. Video games.
I think it's Activision. I think Activision.
Okay.
This next question comes from Nicole Carpenter, last week's winner, who I'm sure coincidentally hit on getting us to revisit what is an old favorite topic of ours. Nicole Carpenter asks, what video game character is the worst patient at the dentist?
Oh, God.
It's been a while, but we're back at the office.
Let's see. The worst at the dentist. I mean, Sonic would be hard to pin down.
Yeah, I was thinking of like someone who'd be a really big baby about having someone in their mouth. Not necessarily like, oh God, they have a gross mouth, but somebody who's like, I don't want to do this, man.
Yeah.
Sonic
Whoa, get out of there, man.
What about a character with like a tiny mouth that's just really hard to get into?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What is the tiniest mouth in video?
Yeah, what's the tiniest mouth in video games?
I don't feel like that makes them a bad. Wait, how is the question phrased?
It would be the worst patient at the dentist.
Worst patient? Yeah, I feel like a video game dentist is going to be prepared for small mouths. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think worst patient means the patient will be bad, not that they're difficult for the dentist. Just like as a human, as a being.
Okay, I might have an answer.
Okay.
Oh, I thought Donkey Kong was one of those characters where they don't have like individual teeth. It's just like a band
a bar.
Of white.
Yeah.
Just like a bar. Characters with just like a bar of tooth.
Like very classic Donkey Kong, which I think is a bar tooth and then some plus signs.
Yeah.
I think
which
that's like
doesn't
Miyamoto
necessarily
style.
like distinguish the teeth. Like that's still one big tooth.
Yeah, you got to clean in those pluses.
But okay, any dentists listening though, is that better or worse?
Yeah, I wonder, because if you got just the one tooth, there's like a lot of places where like you couldn't fix a part of it, but there's only one organism to deal with.
But there's not a lot of
what if you had to get like a root canal and you only had like one tooth? That whole motherfucker's got to come out.
That's true.
That would be terrible.
I think it would be really annoying to have to deal with the cast of Five Nights at Freddy's, because a lot of them have like multiple sets of teeth, like inside their mouth, there's another mouth.
Yeah. But they're all animatronic, aren't they? So they don't, I mean, like,
doesn't mean stuff can't get stuck in there.
They're like cosmic horror animatronics, but I feel like they won't feel pain. So it actually won't be that hard.
You will though, because the whole thing about those things, like one of them's named Springtrap, like it's going to close on your damn hand like a bear trap.
But that's what the little spongy little triangle that they put in your mouth is for.
Yeah.
Also, he's sedated.
Yeah, that's what they should have done in those Freddy's games. They should have hired a dentist to...
Why didn't they think of that?
Yeah.
It's so
to
easy.
be the night watchman. Just stock up on sponges.
Similarly to the too many teeth aspect of the Freddy's, I think my answer is the shark from the game Maneater that you play as.
Oh, that would be hard.
Yeah.
That was a fun game. That was an interesting little concept.
Well, it was. It is absolutely an homage, if you didn't know, to a game called Jaws Unleashed.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it was Majesco published it, and it's starring Jaws, as in from the movies or novel. I think it was a novel first. I don't know if Jaws Unleashed is based on the novel universe or the movie universe, but you play as Jaws, and it's made by the team that made Echo the Dolphin. But it's like opposite Echo. You're just you're a
very different.
bitey shark.
It's Archie.
But I would not go back to it because I feel like Maneater just kind of did everything that it did. But it's kind of funny to go watch a YouTube video or something.
I think it would be really hard to be a dentist for the angry son from Super Mario Brothers 3. It's just hard to get close to that guy.
That's tough. I also think it would be tough to do Dragon Quest slimes because, first of all, where's the teeth?
Yeah.
Second of all, your tool's probably going to dissolve in there, even when you're trying to fit. Or if they don't dissolve, they'll just like blorp away.
Gelatinous cubes, or are they something less sinister?
They're gelatinous blorps.
Yeah, I think they're a little less sinister.
Is a slime a goo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Slimes
So
are goo.
when Jaffe said, I think a difficult patient would be the angry, my brain went video game nerd. So
Yeah.
Tell
I think
you
that's
to
it. Yeah.
pee in a donkey ear or whatever.
Right.
Is that something he does?
I don't know. He says weird stuff like that, I think.
Just
Good.
keep listing the things he would rather be doing than being
Than
at
being
the
in his
dentist.
dentist chair. And it's like, you need to stop talking,
Right.
angry video game nerd. I'm trying to get in your teeth here.
Stop comparing me to other retro dentists. Oh, man.
I'm trying to think of a character that is a tooth. But actually, that
You
would probably
I think
be the
he plays
easiest.
a tooth in Tooth Protectors on the Atari.
Oh,
Is that
God.
right?
I think that would be. I realize that would probably actually be the easiest, though. It's just one tooth, one disembodied tooth. You just buff it down.
Yeah, I think that would be a fun guy to have at your dentist's office.
Power wash simulator, and there you go.
Oh, you don't play as a tooth. You play as a thing protecting teeth. That's different.
Yeah.
You got to play as
A
a tooth.
toothbrush?
Something.
Well, what protects teeth? Is it a mouth
The
guard?
tooth fairy.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's one of these little monsters. I'll put it in the host chat. I don't know. Can't tell which thing you are either. I think you're this
You're the
little
smiley
green
one.
monster. Yeah, that's true. The other one's frowning.
Man,
So, like, you're a bacterium
I've played this.
protecting your teeth from other bacteria.
Could be bacteria. Yeah. You're the good bacteria.
yeah, you're a jack o' lantern with a hat with a graduating cap.
All right.
Just
We're out of time.
graduated from jack o' lantern.
There's never enough time for tooth protectors.
Talk about teeth.
Nicole, thank you for this question. There was clearly a lot to mine here. What is something you always want your character to be able to do in a video game?
Jump.
Be black.
That's
Okay.
a good answer.
Wait, did you say be black?
Jump in person. Yeah.
I did.
She said black. We both said jump. So it's a black person that double jumps is the ideal.
Brandon and Frank, I'm going to have to take a credit away from both of you. The secret word this episode was jump.
Son of a.
Yeah.
Chris Cross made me do it.
Oh, God. How many people
It was the Daddy Mac that made me do it.
are alive of our listeners? Oh, no, we probably skew older than I think.
Most of our
Yeah.
listeners, I think, are familiar with Chris Cross.
Unfortunately or fortunately. Crisscross was cool.
Yeah.
They were cool.
Yeah.
I remember that.
They
With
were
their-
good kids.
Mm-hmm. They just had a funny way of wearing their clothes is all.
So are they the reason why in the 90s all the Looney Tunes wore that? Or did they wear that
100%.
because all the Looney
Yeah.
Tunes did it?
No.
it's Chris Cross.
They inspired
Okay.
the Looney Tunes.
Yeah, because that was like their devised gimmick.
Yeah.
From the label.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but because I was so young, I don't remember which one came first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Chris
gotta be
Cross
Chris
inspired the Looney Tunes to be cool, who in turn inspired Michael Jordan to go back to playing basketball.
yeah,
Right.
and he can
Chris
jump.
Cross is ground zero. Yeah.
Right.
Michael
Mhm.
Jordan's the only human who could ever double jump.
That's right.
That's true.
No, it was a baseball player who did it once, I believe.
Michael Jordan.
He
Good
was
point.
a baseball player.
Good
Yeah.
point. Good point.
Video game characters. What do they do? And what do we want them to do always?
Bo knows. Jordan jumps.
Yeah.
There's some kind of puzzle game here.
That's right. Who's the third guy?
Yeah. This is Jordan is you.
Jordan is
I once tried to design a game where like all the rules every round were movie titles, like throw mama from the train, exit through the gift shop, enter
Don't
the
tell mom
dragon.
the babysitter's
Uh-huh.
dead.
Don't tell mom. Yeah, exactly.
which holds up.
Mr. Smith goes to
Goes to
Washington.
Washington. Yeah.
That's the rule.
Death to Smoochie.
How
I
far
like
did you
that.
get? Because that
Kill
sounds
Bill.
interesting.
Kill Bill
That'd be
was
fun.
in there. That's right. Yeah. But it's just every round. It's like you remix the rules or whatever. And Santa Claus Conquers the Martians was one.
That's a
of them.
good one. This is a fun WarioWare knockoff.
They were basically trying to do that in Genesis games in the 90s. There or even in PlayStation 1 games, there would be like a Reservoir Dogs named level or something, you know? And it had nothing to do with the movie. It would just be like you're in a reservoir and there's
And you're a dog.
dogs
Yeah.
are the enemy or whatever.
Anyway, I want characters to jump,
Okay.
and I wouldn't mind them being black. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I know Brandon hates double jumping, but we both said jump.
It's fine.
Chris Cross made us jump.
It's true. Well, since we both said jump, that means it has to be a double jump. It's
right. I don't care if it's a double jump, but I think every video game character, when you're controlling a little guy, even if it's completely useless to the mechanics of the game, you should be able to do a little jump.
Yeah, you should. And I'm always disappointed when I can't.
I can deal with all kinds of like non-things. Like if I can't jump, if my character can be black, I don't care about jumping or anything else. Like that's fine. Just
can you do a little jump in Demon School, Brandon?
Nope.
Well,
wait, can you be black in Demon School?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you define as you, because you control several characters at once.
Okay.
So
there are black characters in the party.
You can control at least 3 black characters.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Then we're good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right. So we're good on that. It doesn't matter if we can jump in Demon School. Phew.
Let's take a look at the casting for this Street Fighter movie that's coming out.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
What do we think about this?
I haven't looked at it yet. Let's
Yeah, I haven't either. Is it good?
It's interesting.
It's interesting. We've got Andrew Koji as Ryu. We've got Noah Centineo as Ken. Kalina Liang as Chun-Li. David Dastmalchian as M. Bison. Cody Rhodes as Guile. Jason Momoa as Blanca. 50 Cent as Balrog. Orville Peck as Vega. Andrew Scholl, famous right-wing manosphere grifter as Dan Hibiki. And Roman Reigns as Akuma.
Wait, we got a manosphere grifter in the cast?
Yeah, he's Dan Hibiki.
Okay.
I just like how I have to believe that someone was like, okay, we got to cast Vega. Let's just find a guy that we know that wears Orville Peck.
Wears a mask.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There we go.
Famous mask wearer.
I didn't know most of the names, but the fact that they did that is very funny to me, and I automatically like it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has a problem with that. What's going on with 50 Cent right now? I don't know. I don't know anything.
I think it's like, okay, whether he's a good person, I don't know about that. I think he's a good Balrog. I mean, he's a good M. Bison.
He's a good Balrog too.
Yeah.
I don't think you're ever gonna get someone who represents Chun-Li to me. I think that Chun-Li is always going to be wrong no matter who you cast. I don't know why. I think the way she's drawn is just like...
It's too iconic. It's not... nobody can like look like that in real life.
It would be like casting Sailor Moon.
Yeah. Like nobody looks like that in real life.
I think the only person you could do is the... God, what was her name? There is a lady who worked at Capcom. She was an artist, but then she was the official cosplayer of Chun-Li.
Oh, nice.
I feel like she could maybe do it. She's like 40-something now. She could still do it.
Well, yeah, because Chun-Li has got like MILF energy in the most recent one anyway. So
yeah, I think it would work. If I can remember who she is before this question is over, I will show you. Whoever this David Dastmalchian guy, who I've never heard of, is, they clearly are they're trying to recreate what they had before there.
With Raul Julia.
He's very Raul Julia coded in this image that I'm looking at least. Okay,
did you see Late Night with the Devil?
Nope, I didn't watch it.
Did you watch any of Murderbot?
No.
The Murderbot show? No. Okay.
I saw that Suicide Squad he was in.
Yeah, he's in the Suicide Squad as Polka Dot Man.
I don't know. He's not giving... In all the things that I've seen him in, he doesn't give M. Bison.
He was the Polka Dot guy, right?
Yeah, he's Polka Dot Man.
Yeah.
And in Murderbot, he's kind of like a, kind of... Not a Weasley guy, but a real like... He's not M. Bison, and he's not M. Bison in Late Night with the Devil either. But then thinking about Raul Julia, he wasn't any of that either, so there must be cooking with some kind of sauce that I can't see.
Do you think people are mad they didn't cast a Brazilian to play Blanca?
I feel weird about the entire Blanca situation.
Yeah.
I don't, it doesn't feel right to me. It just doesn't. I don't like it.
Like Blanca as a character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, if you put Andy Serkis in mocap, I think I'd be a little bit more okay with it, but I don't know. I don't know what we're trying to do here with Blanca. It's weird to me. I don't like it.
I hope it's entirely practical. I hope they just paint him green. It's just Jason Momoa and he's green.
Just Lou Ferrigno it.
Yeah.
That would be a way to go.
But Cody Rhodes' Guile is perfect.
Yeah, that's fine. Get the All-American Wrestleman to play Guile. I don't think there's better casting than that.
But that's like the only opinions that I have. I don't know who any of these other people are.
My only opinion remains the fact that they did Orville Peck as Vega is so funny that
it's very
this
good.
movie rules.
I mean, I think you need, in my opinion, you need a Spaniard playing Vega.
I would agree.
That's a little weird to me. I don't know how I feel about that.
That's fair.
I guess I'm not familiar with what Orville Peck's got going on under that mask.
He's a gay cowboy.
Yeah, I know that. I know because that's externalized, but I don't know his background. I don't know.
I don't either.
He could be a Spaniard for all I know.
I didn't even know he could act.
I didn't know he could act either.
I hope he can't.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if you have to act to be in a Street Fighter movie.
Yeah, I don't know how to be excited about this. Like, it seems like it's going to be bad. They've showed the cast, and I think, it will be bad.
Hell yeah.
So that's not the answer that they want.
Make me a bad Street Fighter movie.
I hope it's really, really bad.
Mortal Kombat was good, the new one.
It was.
And so it's possible to do, but it doesn't seem like they're interested in that. Andrew Koji, I think, is a decent casting for Ryu because he's, no offense to him, pretty wooden as in a lot of these things, and so is Ryu as a character.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I am not familiar with this actor.
He's the Warrior, that TV show, right?
Oh, he sure is.
I'm pretty sure.
I didn't hate that.
From first principles, all else being equal, if you're given both from scratch, do you think it's easier to make a Street Fighter movie or a Mortal Kombat movie?
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it should be easier to make a Street Fighter movie, and I don't really know why it's not. I mean, I guess Mortal Kombat has violence, and so that's...
Well, you've got the premise of the video game built, or the movie already built in. It's a tournament. You decide the fate of the world versus these extra worldly creatures. Mash them together, make them fight, make some of them kiss.
Meanwhile, literally the only person on Earth who knows what the lore of Street Fighter is Brandon, and they made him throw it out.
That's true.
Yeah.
I got that joke now.
Yeah.
But what's the story of Street Fighter? Like, are you just fighting? Is it a tournament too? I don't remember.
God, there's just a lot of things that are happening. There have been tournaments involved, but it's mostly like some fate of the world type stuff, but in like a coup for some obscure nation type of a way.
Yeah, it's the same plot as Tekken, really.
They're not very good at making those either. Tekken movies.
No, they're not.
All right. That's something to think about as we go to a break. We'll be right back after this little jaunt into another space.
I'm going to be on NPR on Monday, and they want to talk about...
the nipper!
Be very careful about how you say that.
What are you going on NPR for?
They want to talk about indie games, and now I have to think of like 5 indie games I want to talk about, and I can't think of anything. Expedition 33.
I would never call that an indie game.
No.
Why?
I think a lot of people worked on that.
Yeah.
Indie doesn't necessarily mean small.
What does indie mean?
That's like beyond the scale of indie for me. They had too many millions of dollars. They had too many people working on it. It's too pro.
Can we put a pin in this for 1 second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I just want to do this. Welcome back to Insert Credit.
Fuck.
It's time for my next topic. What is an indie game?
No.
God darn it. This is because we
Okay.
This is because we were talking about it.
During the break, there was a question of whether Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is an indie game. I don't know if it was a question so much as someone suggested that it was, and I said, no way, it's not. And Brandon agreed. Which I guess now eliminates who the suspect was.
Okay, since we're gonna have it out, to me, indie team doesn't necessarily mean small or lacking money. It means independently owned. End of. If there's like some traditional
so like Naughty
definition.
Dog?
Yeah.
Ubisoft?
Also, yes. Technically.
So Ubisoft to you
So,
is
I
like
understand,
any Ubisoft
like-
game.
So you're
like
gonna go on
Assassin's Creed is
NPR?
an indie game.
Wait a minute. Do not beat
Ubisoft.
my ass here. Okay, I get what you're saying. Hold on.
All right.
There's a technical definition and there's a spirit of the definition. So Ubisoft and Naughty Dog
Sure.
would not fit the spirit of the definition, but the technical one. Expedition 33, to me, fits both the spirit and the technical, right? Like, what am I missing here?
The spirit.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Too
agree
many
with that.
people, too much money.
So where do you draw the line then?
before that.
Okay.
I'm going to say that if I were to really dig deep, it might have been an emotional response of mine to say that is not indie. And it's because I think there's danger in viewing that very expensive, extremely funded game as something to judge indie games by.
So Supergiant games, where do they fall? Because
indie.
I would put, okay, so I would equate Supergiant with Sandfall. Like, they're independently owned, but Hades 2 probably cost a lot of fucking money the same way Clair Obscur did.
Not nearly.
Probably not. Maybe not nearly, but still.
Probably about a third or less.
Also, it was probably their money.
It was their money.
So you can't have any kind of outside funding in order to be indie?
No, I think there's a line there. I think there's a funding line.
So there's
somewhere.
a dollar amount.
I don't know. Like I said, I think it was I think I'm operating maybe more on emotion than logic with some of this.
It is totally a know it when I see it type situation, which is not helpful.
If it looks like a PS3 game or better, it's not an indie game.
Yeah, I do think there's also a fidelity problem, but at the same time, like, I would probably say Scorn is an indie game because it's like weird and few people made it. But at the same time, I could see people saying it wasn't because it's very, very shiny. It's got a lot of graphicisms.
Yeah.
So it is a tough one. I think one of the things for me is when it's clearly made up of people from AAA that go on to make a well-funded developer on their own. Like that shift, they bring the AAA with them, unless they're doing something real weird.
Well, like that's like Kojima Productions. That's not indie, right?
Yeah,
it's like post mainstream.
Like
okay.
I don't think you only define it as like, does a different entity own the studio? Like, I don't think that's the line. It has to be something else to be indie. I don't know, man. Like, I think we just get rid of the term altogether. To me,
it's not. It's so loose that it's not really helpful.
Like the IGF and the Game Developers Choice Awards are like the same show to me at this point. Like, there's a lot of games that spill over.
Yeah. Your point, Frank, about being judged against them, that is a real one, because right now, like, for like pitching a game, you're going to be going up as an indie developer against folks who somehow got half funded through making like a AAA video game and are now pitching that for like $5 million, that you will basically get a AAA video game for $5 million. And that's a hard thing to pitch against, even if you need a lot less money. The shiny graphics are gonna pull you through. And there is the weird like holding people up that have had fewer people working on their game because that's how many they credit. That's kind of a strange thing. That's something else, but it's strange.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's something that I think some of the conversation around that game is still raw to me. I feel like there's an erasure of the many people that they outsourced assets to. And I'm not saying they're doing it. Like, I believe they've actually tried to stop people from discussing the game that way. But
yeah, I don't think.
And to be clear, I'm not judging my inclusion of Expedition 33 in that, they only had however many people that people are taken out of context said that they worked on it. That's not it either. It's just, this is a game made that's kind of weird by, I mean, I actually don't know how many people outsourced or otherwise they had work on it, but like, what is it, 100 people, maybe 200 people worked on this game, maybe?
I feel like the only real differences between that and like what we'd call a AAA game are that like the majority of the staff were outsourced as opposed to in-house, and they're not owned by something else, you know, like, but otherwise to me, it's basically a AAA game.
We're out of time. But I think it's worth revisiting at some point in the future.
I think I wouldn't care if you weren't going on NPR to talk about it. For the listeners of NPR, like if they're learning about it for the first time, I feel like it should skew a little more toward the Supergiant than the Sandfall.
Well,
I mean, Hades 2 was on the list, so
Hades, a perfectly fine game to be on the list. It's time for us to go to the question hole. This is the part of every episode where I take a question and fish it right out of that hole where if you're a subscriber to patreon.com/insertcredit, you get to stock that old hole with all the questions your little heart desires. You get monthly bonus episodes, and you get other fun, frivolous treats from the cast and crew of this here program. This week's question comes from Reg, who asks, what is the first game you can remember as a child thinking, this is my favorite game, that was then later usurped by another? And what was that second game? So what were your first two favorite games ever?
Oh boy. I maybe thought this is my favorite game once, maybe. I feel like that's not the kind of thought that intrudes into my mind. It's a really tough one. Like, I'll think I really like this game, but favorite, I have a hard time choosing that in any medium anywhere. So I try not to have to think about that.
Well, I think we're also of the generation where video games weren't media yet; they were still toys. So the process of like, what is the best, what is the favorite, like, I don't think entered my mind until later years. So I'm going to, I know the answer in terms of like games that I favored. You know what I mean? I don't think I had the thought favorite. But I was born with an Atari in the house, and I remember that the game that I favored in the library that we had was Q*bert. I think I just liked the little guy. I like jumping around as a little guy.
He was a good little guy.
He is a good little guy. We just at the foundation, we just scanned all the surviving concept art from his artist, Jeff Green.
Nice.
So that's kind of a fun full circle thing that hadn't occurred to me until just now. And then probably the next time that I favored a game was probably the original Super Mario Brothers when we got a Nintendo. Because I don't know, man, Super Mario Brothers.
I think that works. You got a jumping guy and then another jumping guy, so it
That's
works
what you need to be able to do in a game.
And now guys got to jump.
Mm-hmm. Just the only thing that I could remember when I was thinking like, now this is a video game right here, was Gunstar Heroes on the old Sega Genesis. But I don't think I then thought that again in a way that Gunstar Heroes was supplanted. I certainly thought it again with like Metal Slug 3, and those are in sort of the same genre, but I would not say that I like one over the other necessarily. So I guess it would have to be a much earlier memory that then got supplanted by Gunstar Heroes. I guess I thought Contra was all right, and then I thought Gunstar Heroes was dramatically better than Contra. But but Contra was never my favorite. It was just a game that you could rent.
That was the advertising tagline. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was 5 years old, my neighbor had Super Mario Brothers for the NES, and I distinctly remember playing it and thinking, this is the coolest video game I've ever played. And then, like 2 or 3 months later, they upgraded to a Super Nintendo, and I played Super Mario World for the first time. And I was like, no, this is the coolest video game. Because
you leapt through time, like instantly.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was baffling. There are two different kinds of jumps in Super Mario World. They were breaking incredible new jump technology. There was the regular jump and the spin jump. And people forget about that.
Stupid.
I guess my story is a little stranger. I'm trying to think.
Good.
Like, I didn't think about the games that I played when I was a kid, like the first games that I played and thought of them as my favorite. I just did them because I had to. Like, I didn't own a console. I didn't hold a home console until the PlayStation 1, but I had little handhelds. I had a Game Boy Color and a Game Gear. But the first video games that I played were on the Sega Genesis that I didn't own, that was at my cousin's house, and they made me play with them. So we had to play like Sonic, which is a game that I wound up loving, but it wasn't something that I chose for myself. It became my favorite because of like, it was not beaten into me, but kind of beaten into me. And then when I had like my Game Boy Color and my Game Gear, the games that I would play over and over and over again was because I didn't have very many games. The Lion King, I remember playing all the time. Love that for the Game Gear.
That was easier than the Genesis one. The Genesis one has that sequence with the friggin' giraffes.
Yes.
Not the giraffes, the monkeys. Well,
yeah,
giraffes and the monkeys, where you got to hit them in the right order. And it's like, no, I'm
yeah,
never
that was
gonna
pain in
do
the
that.
ass.
The labyrinth zone of the Lion King. It's where you stop playing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it my favorite, and then I got Pokemon Blue and I played that over and over again. I want to say that was probably my favorite game because it was mine and I chose to continue to keep playing it over and over and over again because I enjoyed it so much. And then I guess the thing that came and took over that, which is a big leap if you consider, well, maybe not, because I don't really know what years things happen in. Tomb Raider 2, because I got a PlayStation and not a game I chose for myself. It came with it, but I happened to like it because it was a lady with big tits and I could fight tigers.
Good to have standards.
That's also the advertising tagline of that game.
Yeah.
Yes.
With big tits who fights tigers.
It basically is.
I do know the actual answer to the question as asked, which is I think the first game that I ever said this is my favorite, like I was asked, was, this won't shock no one, The Secret of Monkey Island. And then the one that supplanted it for me for a time was the first time I played through Grim Fandango. But I no longer, it's been supplanted since then, for sure.
Yeah.
But that was first and second for me in terms of vocalizing, what is your favorite game? I have an answer to that.
Good question, Reg. We're recording this episode on July 3rd, 2025. Just a few days ago, Microsoft announced they were killing the concept of video games, more or less. And I just want us to kind of, I guess, unpack that. What the hell is wrong with video games, folks?
Number don't go up enough. And Xbox doesn't know how to make video games anymore. And they definitely don't know how to run companies that make them. Bad management has led to them deciding they want to essentially kill their pipeline. If you thought Summer Games Fest was kind of weak this year, just you fucking wait. Yeah. I mean, you can't have games if you've got nobody around to make them. And we're getting Call of Duty Black Ops number 22, which is great. But Xbox hasn't made a really, really, really good standout, breakout, knockdown, drag-out game since I don't know when. They've had successes in that meantime. Indiana Jones was a great game. Hi-Fi Rush was a great game. There's probably others that are out there that just came out that are good games, but they are not the kinds of games that make the kind of money that shareholders desire. So that means everybody's got to lose their fucking job. I don't know how they re-pull from this. I don't know how they recover. It sounds like, based on all the signaling that they're doing about what is an Xbox, they don't want to be in the console manufacturing business anymore, but they still want the money that comes from people playing your games. So they thought that they could do that by buying Activision Blizzard and locking that in the walled garden of Game Pass. That didn't fucking work, and it will not work because people play those games on PlayStation more often than not. I don't know, man. It's bad. It's terrible. The Romero games shut down. What hope is there for anybody else? So good luck. I love you. I'll see you around. Hopefully you get to come back in some form or whatever and make the games that you wanted to make. I hope that for you. But other than that, I don't know, man. It's terrible.
To try to turn it into an interesting thought experiment, I think Sony has an interesting opportunity, and even Nintendo, to get themselves some half-finished AAA games that they could finish for a relatively budget price. That's kind of interesting. Talking of the Romero games, new FPS thing, Sony could pick that up.
Yeah.
Then they got a good story, and they
they got a great fucking stories. Crafting Games, I believe, are the people who bought the Hi-Fi Rush studio.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what they're doing yet, but they're saved. Whatever they're working on, we'll still get it.
Yeah, and Sony does seem quite interested in trying to make new big AAA things. If they want more sooner, there's a good opportunity for them. The Switch 2, Nintendo has never done this kind of thing before, but if they want more big, interesting games on their console, there's an opportunity for them as well. So I don't think that's necessarily going to happen, but the fact that it could is interesting to me. I think that it would be cool if it did. So, I'm crossing my fingers. I think that would be nice. But yeah, Microsoft they also, the day after that, or was it the same day, sent out ID at Xbox, the indie branch that allows sort of self-publishing stuff for independent game developers, sent out an email about their Gamescom thing, and they're going to have a panel about AI and all the cool ways you can use it in making video games. So they're going in a direction, and that's for sure. They got a direction, they've chosen it, they're headed for it. So I wish the best to everyone that lost their jobs, and I hope that also somehow there's room to fund other things, because it's tough when you got thousands of people losing their jobs, and it was already hard to pitch games. It's an interesting time. That's what I have.
I entered game development, I don't know, 2012, something like that. And I think on paper I was like a designer, but really I was doing biz dev. And after maybe 2 or 3 months of kind of learning biz dev and having a couple meetings and stuff, I came to the conclusion that I don't understand why anyone's in video games as a business. And that still holds true. I think it's been chaos for a very long time. As far as I can tell, the business is you trick people into giving you money, and then sometimes you have a hit. And that's the entire business. And maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's all entertainment. I don't know, but
I think it is.
I don't get it. I don't so I as always, I feel very sad for people losing their jobs, but I don't know, I don't know what the healthier practice is. I don't understand this business as something that is a reliable thing to get into. I just do not understand it.
Government funding's cool. A lot of places have it,
right.
And I think that stuff.
You trick them into giving you money.
Yeah, trick them into giving you money. That's who you should trick.
I have this distinct memory of going to a theme park with my parents as a kid and having this thought that if this park could get away with just having a line and not having a ride at the end and just charging us for that, then that's exactly what they would do. And that was the moment that just the idea of capitalism started cracking in my head. Well, with that, I think it's time to go to the lightning round.
Wait,
I disagree. First of all, like, they don't want you in line; they want you in the gift shop.
That's that's fair.
Oh, the concessions.
Yeah.
But what if they put
paid your
what if they put the line through
gotcha.
there?
Well, they do some of that at Disneyland, not in, but like around and stuff for like especially the space stuff, like gets you right by that gift shop. But they don't want you in line, and keeping people in line is a problem for theme parks. They prefer that the ride time be very short. That the I don't know what the term is, but that people get through it quickly and back out so that they go to the gift shop. So young Jaffe, you were on the right track, but you didn't quite have it.
Yeah, I was in the line, but I didn't get on the ride yet. I think it's time for a lightning round. What do you think, Brandon?
Well, I thought I was going to get a chance to talk about video game things that I did in Europe.
Oh, yeah. I guess we ran out of time there because I wanted to talk about what an indie game was. Before we do the lightning round, hey, Brandon, what were your video game experiences in your Grand Euro trip?
Yes. Well, I had a few. It was I really wanted to go to a CEX, the UK GameStop-ish thing that actually still has games in it. But unfortunately, I was not able to in the time. But my friend Steve Curran was like, that's basically just a place to buy stolen mobile phones at this point. And I looked at the reviews for the one near where I was staying, and the first review was, "Hey, I bought a laptop, but it says there's a password for it."
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, well, it's true. But yeah, I went to a barcade out there, and I don't know if you saw me post about this, but this was like, I got so blasted because I was like, all right, I will buy 20 British pounds worth of tokens, please. And basically £1 gets you 4 tokens, and the tokens were American quarters.
Yes, I did see this.
Yes, it's very good.
Oh, no one's ever been as owned as you are in that moment.
Yeah, it was so bad. So I paid like $29 for like $12 worth of quarters or something like that. I just
he got the fuck out of here.
It felt like a personal affront because I was an American in there, and they were like,
"Well, okay, so did it buy
idiot.
you $29 worth of game time? Like, what were the prices on these cabinets?"
They were like 50 cents for a place. It wasn't that bad, but it could have been better. So you didn't get
your money's worth, but you got your money's worth.
Yeah, I did.
Within the context of the arcade.
I got to play. I played Outrun 2 Special or whatever it's called multiple times. That was pretty fun. Love that game. Played some other things. Played the Clang Clang. I forget what it's called. Something Panic, whatever.
The Clang Clang.
Oh, Panic
Somebody
Park.
knows what I'm talking about. What? Panic Park. Yeah. Panic Park.
The Clang Clang.
The Clang Clang. Well, at the beginning it says push each other, and it goes bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Panic Park is awesome. Panic Park's a California extreme staple.
It's pretty good. And I had to play against my partner, and she was like, "But no, you're gonna go easy on me," and it's hard not to.
Oh no,
like,
my husband does not have this problem. He's going to beat the shit out of me. It doesn't matter.
Well,
this is a
physically.
game that like lets you safely beat the shit out of each other.
This is a game that also though rewards physical strength.
Yeah.
So it feels weird. Anyway, then I went to Paris, and I was looking around at. There's like a street where they have a bunch of game shops. And I actually want to, in the future, do an insert credit guide in with several of the guys I was walking around with about buying games in 80s, 90s Paris, because it was really different and really interesting and very specific to like this shop does this, that shop does that. And, they had all the copying stuff going on over there with the computer games. They had a lot of like trade-in schemes for Mega Drive games and stuff, which was weird. And that's also where they had the gray market TurboGrafx PC Engine. Anyway, that's a kind of a side thing. But yeah, I was looking around for something to buy because I had been at the flea market, and the flea market was a total bust. There were hardly any games at this flea market. I found a copy of the Metal Sonic bootleg, which is just like a ROM hack on a Genesis card. And you could buy that at AliExpress for like $5. And the lady was like, €10. And I was like, no way. I'll give you 5. And she's like, no, it's 10. And then I saw there was also a Game King cartridge, which is kind of neat because the Game King is unusual and weird, and it had like three games on it. My friend came over who can actually speak French, and because he's French.
You go to reason to speak French.
He was like, let me talk to her. And then he holds up the two of them, and he's like, okay, how about 10 for both? And she's like, no, that one's 15, pointing at Metal Sonic, and the other one's 6. She raised the price
Nice.
of Metal Sonic. That lady's never gonna sell that in her life.
It costs more if you speak to me in French.
Exactly. So back at the game store zone, I was looking for something to buy because this one store was actually going out of business, and everything was 50% off. And I knew I was going to see Omar later, who Frank also knows.
Omar Cornut.
Yes. And I saw a copy of Soul Bubbles, which he worked on. And so I was like, I'm going to buy Soul Bubbles for €5 and make him sign it.
That's the move. That's exactly what I'd do. Absolutely.
It was great.
That was Ash with her Final Fantasy poster.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And so he signed it, and he signed Most Underrated Game of 2008, which I forgot was like, I put that game in a list of underrated titles on Gama Sutra.
Oh, he remembered.
And he
That's
remembered
so cute.
That was great.
That was nice. I totally forgot about that. But then he became a negative influence because as we were walking around, he's like, "Oh, yeah, this game was only released in France, and this game is very, very rare." And I was like, "Oh God, I gotta get some of these." So I bought a copy of Taxi 2 for the Dreamcast, not Crazy Taxi 2.
It's Normal Taxi.
Normal Taxi, regular Taxi 2.
Legally distinct taxi.
So in France there was a
subdued taxi.
Yeah.
Yes. Gentleman's taxi.
That opens with fine, 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 fine.
So in France they had a movie called Taxi, which was a big hit, and it was like about a crazy taxi ride. Oops.
Ironic. Wow.
I know. Riding all over Paris for some scheme. And then there was a sequel called Taxi 2, which didn't do as well because it was basically a rehash of the first movie. And Ubisoft made a game for it that was on PC and Dreamcast released only in France.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Good move. Good. Thank you, Omar.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, should I get this?" And he was like, "You know, the guy at Limited Run was really trying to buy this one." I was like, "Oh, maybe I should buy it." And then I was looking up prices, and then I saw that on eBay the one available for sale was $350. And I look in the case, and there's one that's sealed for €200, and I'm like, "Well, I don't want to spend €200 because that's ridiculous." But then in the next case, there was an open one for €80. Still too much money. But I did buy it because I bought hardly anything out there. So now I have Taxi 2 for the Dreamcast.
Yeah. So this is where Brandon announced he's spending 4 credits to make us all play Taxi 2.
Oh God, I've heard it's really bad. I haven't had a chance to load it up yet. But if it's fun bad, maybe I will. But probably not. And the other thing I saw was multiple corgi with tails, which I was very happy about.
But not single corgi with multiple tails.
No, I didn't see Miles Tails corgi.
The way you said that made me think that.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did sound like a corgi king of sorts.
Yeah.
But it's sad that you don't see a lot of corgi with tails. So it was nice to see some walking around getting to wag.
My coloring, no, they don't keep their tails, but the cardigan ones, the black ones, they typically do.
Yeah, well, this was a nice little beige boy with its tail. Yeah, it's silly that they do that. It's not silly. They shouldn't do the docking.
So I had a completely different lightning round planned for this episode, but then Frank
no
said
one wants
something.
to hear about my trip, huh?
Oh, no, I don't.
Okay, all right.
I'm hot and tired. Frank, how was your trip?
But you don't want to hear about it, so now
I don't want to hear about it, but there's probably someone listening to this episode who wants to know why you weren't here last week. Please justify your absence.
Yeah, it was my return trip to Chicago. I might have talked about this maybe on a bonus credit. I don't know. But back in, I think, early June, maybe May. I think it was May. I went to Chicago to kind of have a few meetings and meetups with like potential material donors.
Get some deep dish pizza, get some wind.
I didn't get deep dish pizza, but I did get Italian beef, which is the stereotype Chicago food that they actually eat there. They don't eat deep dish.
Correct.
That's right. So this was a kind of return trip to basically 2 action items from the previous one. So I mentioned earlier on the show that we scanned artist Jeff Lee's work. So Jeff kept files for all of his games. So we scanned all of his like Q*bert concepts, but all the other like weird stuff he did at Gottlieb, like the Three Stooges arcade game. Which
were there
was his idea.
different looking Q*berts?
So not really. But he said a lot of the pieces he remembered were missing. And he thinks it's related to like before he knew anyone cared, he gave a presentation at a local library and the stuff that he cherry picked is missing. He doesn't know if it was stolen or misplaced or what. So that might be the real concept stuff. But
heck.
Also, the other way to answer your question is I was using a nice feed scanner and we scanned literally 2,400 things. I had no time to look at any of it. I still haven't. So there might be really cool stuff.
That makes sense.
Oh, are you going to do another live stream?
Where I look at his art?
Yeah.
I hadn't planned on it. Probably not.
That could be cool.
Could be. I don't know. Mostly I'm going to be like, I don't know what this is. Yeah, I don't know what this is. It's kind of weird.
Get him on the stream.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know that he
knows about the internet.
Yeah. Sorry, Jeff.
That's fair.
Well, he's not listening apparently, so it's fine.
Probably not. I just I don't know. He's a man in his 70s. I don't know.
Fair.
I don't know where his tech literacy is. I know he just bought his first laptop in his life.
Wow.
So
man,
so
must be nice.
That was one thing, but the main part of the trip, and I believe that I talk about this in a bonus credit, was Roger Sharp. Roger is kind of known as a pinball guy, but he's had a really long career. He had a movie made about him pretty recently. And he did work in and around games for a very long time. He edited Video Games magazine in the 80s. He freelanced for people, review-wise, stuff like that. He ran business stuff at Midway for a really long time. And when I went out to meet him and look at his basement and kind of help him figure out what to do with his stuff back in May, the conclusion was Roger, invite me back to organize your basement. And he's like, sure, sounds great. His wife was super into that idea. In fact,
of course she was.
And so me and Robin from my team, we spent 5 days in Roger Sharp's basement last week organizing. And he moved to this house in 1988.
Oh.
And I swear to God, I opened moving boxes that were still taped shut from 1988 and dug out video game stuff.
I was going to say, was his like basement contained to only video game stuff? Or
No,
are you in there going
not.
through like family
I went through
heirlooms
everything.
and shit?
I went through, yeah.
Christmas
absolutely.
lights.
Frank, you're doing free organizational.
Yeah,
labor.
they didn't know it was down there. They had no idea. But like every piece of paper that their two sons like ever took home from school was just like put in a box. Like they love their kids. It's gross.
Weird.
Basement full of files unexposed to the Clinton presidency.
But like it's actually true. So like a lot of the boxes just said like Roger office in Sharpie, and it was just like when he moved, he just kind of like put his arm on a desk and like scooped it. So it would be like some arcade video game flyers, grocery coupons, half a bottle of toothpaste, some pipe tobacco. And like we went through everything to try to get the video game stuff out, and it was absolutely worth it. I'll give my favorite moment. So sealed box, open it up, dig some crap out. There's a bag in there, like from a trade show. I go to grab it and it disintegrates in my hand, the bag. So I take out the stack of stuff that's in there. I put it on my little sorting table. I bought a card table and put it in his basement. I said, that's yours now. And it was everything he grabbed at Winter CES 1985. Just a time capsule from that show. That show's kind of a big deal historically. That's the first time Nintendo came and showed their home system. They were calling it the AVS, the Advanced Video System. And digging through that stuff, and it's just like, he grabbed press kits from like RCA's new line of televisions, right? Just whatever CES crap. And in the middle was a press kit that I had no idea was even created by Nintendo for the AVS. So we have like 8x10 like photos of the system. We have corporate backgrounds, press release, fact sheet, all the software that they announced for the system. I didn't know any of that stuff. So that was really cool. Also, Brandon, you might find this interesting. There was an MSX presence at this show. I had no idea. I have a press kit from Konami, who exhibited 22 MSX games at Winter CES.
Wow.
1985.
Incredible.
The MSX was never sold in the US, but there was some kind of push by Konami and like Panasonic and Sony and other manufacturers at this show, which is very interesting.
Neat.
But yeah, that, and dug out a ton of like arcade flyers, other CES show bags. Like the Nintendo kit from 87 is really cool too, because it has more information that I didn't have and a photo of the Nintendo knitting machine, which we know very little about, but I actually have some information on now.
Nice.
And yeah, very much worth it. He was super generous. He was like, look, if it's video games, just take it. And we did. So we have
That's
a lot
cool.
of like, really precious paperwork now. Thank you, Roger Sharp.
Hooray. One more thing for you, Jaffe.
Yeah.
The movie that I hated the least during my plane rides, the answer may surprise you, was The Batman.
Nice.
Oh, I love the Batman.
That was the movie I hated the least.
A faint praise, but I'll
What was
take
the movie
it.
you hated the most?
The one I hated the most?
Yes.
It's a tough one. I watched the new Ghostbusters Ice Age.
Oh, yeah.
That was a pretty strong contender for most hated. I think I might have to give it to it. Yeah.
I really like the part in The Batman where he's like, it's near the beginning of the movie where he's investigating the crime scene around the other cops, and he just looks like a weirdo.
Yeah, he's just
You know?
standing there, and all the cops are looking like, who invited this guy?
It made me feel like I want one that leans a little more into that, where
Me
he's
too.
just where he's like,
Fucking weird, sad, wet freak.
what if I was like on the ceiling and I just dropped down and I kicked them? They didn't even know I was there. It'd be so cool. And he's just
Brandon,
like muttering
I
to
think you would
himself.
enjoy one of Alex Jaffe's favorite comics, Gotham Central. If you can get
Yeah.
if you can get yourself in the mindset that like a cop drama in a fictional world, you can kind of believe
Yeah,
that maybe some cops are okay.
Yes, I watch cop procedurals. I can suspend my disbelief.
Yeah.
What I really like about Gotham Central is that like you start kind of getting annoyed at Batman. It's like, shut up, man. Like he's just like showing off. There's like, there's just scenes where cops talking to another cop in the shadows, and it turns out it's Batman in disguise. And when like they look out the window and see him, he's just doing like the most dramatic, like posed, like falling out of the window thing possible. And you're just like, shut up, you creep.
Yeah,
I think you would enjoy it.
Gotham Central's really good.
Yeah, my partner was like, how did Robert Pattinson do a Batman? Like, he doesn't really seem like a Batman. And I was like, oh, he was just emo and wounded. So he was just, yeah. And she's like, oh, he's just being his Twilight character again. I was like, exactly.
Yeah.
He's
being a sad, sexy vampire again.
Are they going to do another Patman or not?
They've been meaning to, but the guy has had writer's block for like 3 years now.
Oops.
He was supposed to have just submitted a script at the end of last month after like 2 years of I'm doing it, I promise. I don't think he knows how to follow it up.
Well, he sort of wrote himself into a corner, because at the end of that movie, Batman is like, instead of being a big weirdo, I need to be a symbol of hope. And it's like, oh, but that was the whole thing about that movie you just made that was cool. And so now for the next one, he's just Michael Keaton again.
I would be curious to get your read on The Penguin, the TV show spinoff. I really liked it. I may
even watch it.
Yeah.
Because of this Batman that I saw.
Yeah.
Okay, the end.
Shall we call that our recommendation since we're running long?
Yeah, let's call that our recommendation.
Works for me.
I want to do our lightning round before we pack it in, because I had a completely different concept at the start of the show, but then Frank said something that made me want to play an entirely different game. We are playing Frank's movie title game, where I'm going to name a movie, and we're going to design a level for his fictional game based on the imperative of that title.
Okay, what type of a game
I want to
is
be
it?
clear. My fictional game, it just keeps adding movie titles as rule, right?
Yeah.
So like level 1 might be Enter the Dragon, and it's just very simple, like maze, and you enter the dragon. And then the next level might be like Enter the Dragon, exit through the gift shop. Right. And it kind of builds from there. So it's not one level per game, but I mean, per one movie per level. But
okay. Anyway. Well, I got 10 here. We'll see how they compound.
If we want to be true to the spirit of my game, it's what is the mechanic of the movie title.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Our first mechanic is let the right one in.
Okay. So there's on the map, there is a switch, right, that opens and shuts a gate, and there's characters sort of outside the gate, on like a rotating thing or whatever, and the puzzle is, you have to kind of make sure that thing's open when the right one's in front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it can be any of those. Like, it can be an inverse tapper. It can be the thing where you're catching the babies, the Nintendo thing where you're catching the babies out of the flaming buildings. Any of those work. Yeah.
Dial M for murder.
Yep.
That's just an Among Us clone.
No, I mean, no. Ash, the point
literal.
is it's instructions you follow literally.
Okay.
So you have to dial M for murder.
So this means, once you've let the right one in, then you have to hit M on your cell phone, and you have to figure out how to, I guess maybe it's like weird. Your cell phone is weird. The screen is strange. The M doesn't always show up. It's like eluding you, and you have to be able to hit the M, and then the guy that you had in there with you gets murdered. But then you're stuck with the murderer after that.
Okay, so you just let a bunch of right ones in, and then you murder them?
So far.
Well,
okay.
possibly.
So far.
Like, well, no, it's more like, okay, again, if we're going to my stupid game, right? So it's more like the right one's in now, and he's cleared a path, but now he's blocking a door. So you have to go dial M for murder. And you see, like, by the time you're on, like, level 20, you have all of the mechanics that you can call it.
Okay.
Walk the line.
After you dial M for murder, there's blood everywhere. And you can't get blood on your shoes, so you have to walk the line, and the line is the only place where there's no blood.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing, too, is
because you're playing as Elvis, and you can't get anything on your blue switch.
Right.
The other thing, too, is a line could be a phone line.
Yeah.
And you might have to trace the line because you tried to dial M for murder. And
then
it
you're
didn't
tracing
work.
yourself.
Right.
It's starting to fall apart, Frank.
Listen, I never made the thing.
Our next rule is die hard.
I don't think I had that one on my list.
Well, if the murderer is still with you, maybe this
Yeah.
is a situation where you have to die and become a ghost. Like this is something that you have to do to progress because you gotta phase through to the next plane for some reason. Perhaps on the phone line.
You dialed in for murder, and then you walked the line, but then your victim was not dead, so you have to kill them. But it's very hard.
Okay.
No, it's die hard.
They have
Not
to
kill
Well,
hard.
You have to die.
They have to die hard.
Yeah.
If someone says, Ash, I need you to die hard, you're going to go murder someone?
well,
No, well, yeah, the person who suggested it to me.
I think you can take Ash's reading on this. That you could have an activity that causes the state of dying hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you could make someone die hard.
For the sake of the game, it's like, like Brandon's saying, you might have to become a ghost, right? And it's like, maybe it's really hard to die if you try to die soft. You got to die hard. But I wouldn't have that one in the game because it's too vague.
I think Brandon's interpretation works really well with this next one. Drag me to hell.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're a ghost, and you have the...
So the person you killed has died hard, and now you have to escort them to hell.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a ghost.
This is like the game's gotten meta at this point because me is the narrator or the rule giver, right? So
I think you're dragging the rule itself to hell.
Oh, yeah, that's
God.
it.
As it appears on the screen.
Yeah, it's on the screen. It's plain text, and you have to get to it. And there is a pickup or drag button, and like hell's on the screen. Just as Washington is sometimes on the screen because Mr. Smith goes to Washington.
He has to go there, right.
Yeah.
Call me by your name.
The same phone as dial in for murder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's got to be like you put in your name at the beginning of the game, and like there's several phones, and this one has your name on it.
Yeah.
So,
but there's a secret. If instead of typing your actual name, you type the words your name.
Yeah.
That's what I was going. It's like
Then
a
there's
Gandalf
no
situation where he's like trying to speak friend and ender.
That's even better. Yeah, it's more clever. Yeah.
Don't torture a duckling.
What movie is this?
It's a Giallo movie.
It's a Giallo movie. You may have heard me immediately say, I've seen this.
Wait, what are we not doing to the baby ducklings?
Don't torture a duckling.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think at this point a duck comes on screen and you just have to not do anything.
Just don't do
to
anything
it.
with
But
it.
it's a
Yeah, you
really
gotta stay
shitty
still.
duck.
Yeah.
Like it's a really annoying, abusive
It should be a
duck.
really annoying duck.
Right.
Oh,
So,
you know
like,
what? Like
Daffy.
if you step on it, like that's torture.
Yeah, you have to
screams.
watch your
Yeah.
step. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Bring me the head of Alfredo Garcia.
Okay, so it's the same dragging, picking up mechanic.
Yeah.
Right?
It's in a
And
There's a
corner.
bunch of different, like Italian guys.
Mhm.
And you got to figure out which one's
Which
Alfredo
one
Garcia.
of them is Alfredo Garcia?
Yeah.
One of them is like Antonio Manetti.
Yeah. Yeah.
You probably have to figure out how to dial for Alfredo Garcia and see whose
Yeah,
phone
you call
rings.
him.
See who
Yeah.
picks up and goes, hello.
Yeah, because
Dial
we have
A
a
for
phone on
Alfredo.
the screen. We have a phone on the screen that you can walk
Right.
the line to get to.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Our second to last prompt is faster, pussycat. Kill.
Well, this is the adult section of the game.
Yeah.
Vagina dentata is involved.
Okay.
Yeah, you can put that together if you want.
I
Figure that
could. I could. Like, hypothetically.
Yeah,
but I
put it
choose
together.
not to.
I can't help.
if you also have a throw mama from the train on this stage, it actually is really fun.
No, I intentionally didn't include that one because you mentioned it earlier.
Here's the thing. Since you can now instruct someone else to kill very directly, can you now get the cat to kill the annoying duckling that has been harassing you this whole time?
You can't torture that duckling.
Yeah, but you aren't doing it. The cat is.
The only rule is that Pussycat has to kill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to kill
Faster.
twice. And faster each time.
I would think they have
kill
to.
him.
Yeah, I think you have to speed him up, and they have to and get him to kill twice, probably. And it kind of doesn't matter that the instructions are unclear who it has to kill. So this is kind of I mean, I basically invented Baba as you. Okay.
Yeah, you did.
So like,
Well, here,
you just
Frank,
have to
maybe
do this. go ahead. Yeah.
Maybe the line that you've walked is a conveyor belt, and you put the cat on it to go faster.
That's what I was thinking. I love Lucy's situation where ducklings are going by. And then if you
drag something in front of it and then you dial M for murder when the cat is in front of it, you have to drag two things and it'll kill.
Okay, so if there is a conveyor belt, then I think you control it with a dial. And M murders, but there's also like F for faster.
All right.
Yeah.
This all tracks to me. Our last prompt is, don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Isn't it gin and juice in the hood?
No, just drinking.
Really?
Juice.
Yeah. Man, I've hallucinated that since the 90s.
God. Don't be a menace. Well, that means, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
You have to bring 2 other people to block you. Esper will get that joke. Jaffe, you should too.
That's a Magic the Gathering keyword. I get that now.
That's the best I got. I have nothing with the juice. I'm sorry. I have, believe it or not, never seen that movie. I know.
I haven't seen it either, even though I've watched many things surrounding. I mean, I've watched the things that it references. Because it seemed like it was, I think even young me was like, this is going to be regressive somehow. I don't feel that this is going to reflect positively upon my friends. So I did not watch it.
It's hard when it's this specific. Like, I don't know. Like, don't tell mom the babysitter's dead is also a difficult one.
Yeah, I think that there's a reason that we have more yes and than don'ts in improv scenarios. So I guess there's something that compels you to be a menace, which perhaps is like the walls of the scenario fall down and all of your misdeeds and murders and the heads that you've brought come to light, and you gotta somehow convince people that you're not being a menace. So maybe you have to clean it all up.
But you're also a baby with a big juice box.
Yes. Yeah. So
come get your juice.
Yeah.
Just like a little baby with a little juice box.
I think we've just saved video games.
But I just want to say that what I had found when I was trying to do this, and just be clear, this was never serious. This is just me like a notes document. It was like I never had a plan for making it. But what I found worked best was not commands, but like rule sets, right? So like Mr. Smith goes to Washington means that like if you place a Mr. Smith, it will always pathfind toward Washington, right? Mm-hmm. If you place a Santa Claus, it will conquer any Martians, like because Santa Claus conquers the Martians. So
he has to, yes.
As listeners are thinking through their own rule sets for this game, I want to just pass on the wisdom that what tends to work best is stuff like that.
This would work well as a Lemmings style game.
If you have Manhattan on the map and you have both Jason and the Muppets, what happens?
So they both take Manhattan, right?
Yeah, they both take Manhattan.
Yeah, I mean, like the first to get it, like picks it up and drags it. The other one, if they can also get to it, they'll probably kind of pull on each other.
Yeah.
Like they'll probably just like be stuck pulling back and forth, and they're trying to get it back to their like home base probably. So you might need to eliminate one of them, like by dialing M perhaps, in order for the one to succeed that you need. Because you probably need Manhattan to like be a bridge to get over a lake or something. Because you need to relocate Manhattan.
Yeah, because you need to escape from New York.
So you release the Muppets to take Manhattan, and they take it and drag it.
Way too intense.
This is the greatest game of all time. This is my game of the year 2025 right here.
Thanks. I have to find my notes. I had some really good ones.
Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Insert Credit number 397. Thank you all for joining us here. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd recommend you rate and review our show. It helps us out ostensibly.
Little R&R.
If you'd like to sponsor our show with an advertisement or personal message, you can do that by emailing me at show@insertcredit.com. You can join our community at forums.insertcredit.com or find us on youtube.com/insertcreditshow. Why not check out The Verge or the Video Game History Foundation or the Demon School trailer? This episode is edited by Esper Quinn with music by Kurt Feldman. I'm Alex Jaffe.
I'm Frank Cifaldi.
I'm Ash Barish.
I'm Brandon Sheffield.
And your game has now been saved. Ha-cha. Good one, guys.
Hooray.
Cha-cha-cha-cha.
Who won that episode?
Oh, that's a good question. We all won that episode.
Everybody gets a credit.
No, Frank wins that episode for inventing the best game of 2025.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations, Frank. You are now up to 7 credits.
Did you subtract
Is that including the one he lost?
Yes.
Okay. I had 7 before this.
Oh. You had 7. You went down to 6. You're back up to 7.
So that puts me down to...
You're at 5.
5?
Ash, you're also at 5.
All right.
Yay.
Yeah.
Woo.
We're all credit rich.
I'm winning.
Yes.
Yeah. It's important to win this podcast. It's a normal thing to want and possible to achieve.